Hello, it is I, Wednesday Gay Raul. So we're to talk about car accidents. Let me tell you, I've had 3 altercations involving moving vehicles. Not all of them car accidents per se. The first one, I was a mere waif of a child at 10 years old, and basically I was involved in a car accident. The car was being driven by my Little League baseball coach at the time, who was driving me and my mother to the Amtrak train station so that we can take a trip up to Washington, D.C. But unfortunately, we never made the trip because we got hit by a car and my mother got really injured, and I was like 10 and freaked out. And I remember some stranger who lived in the house on the corner where we had the accident. She was comforting me, and I remember she had enormous breasts. Yeah. Second altercation with a car was in fact a car accident where I was the one driving, but I was not at fault. Basically, the bitch ran a stop sign. And here's a tip, people. If you're going to run a stop sign, run the fucking stop sign. Don't press your brakes and come to a screeching halt when you see the car coming at you. Because I was the car that was coming at her. If she would have just kept accelerating or floored it, I wouldn't have hit her. But the problem is she saw me and she slammed on her brakes and I clipped the back of her car. I destroyed the back of her. I crumpled her trunk. I think her rear tire fell off. My car didn't have a scratch on it. It was a 1992 LeBaron convertible with furry zebra seats. Picture it. But yeah, basically, I cussed in the car for like 5 minutes, and then I realized, okay, let me get out. And I looked at my car, and I saw they had no damage, and I was like, thank God. And then I looked at her car, and it was like really fucked up. And she was like freaking out, so I ran over to her, and she just kept saying, I'm sorry. So, I asked her, well, what do you want to do about this? And she's like, well, I don't have any insurance. And I'm like, okay, well, you're pretty much fucked. And that was... I got back in my... I said, so we're straight? And I got back in my car and I kind of drove off. I was 18 at the time. So I really didn't grasp the whole mental concept of leaving the scene of a car accident. I just kind of thought, hey, she doesn't give a shit and I don't give a shit, so whatever. So that was that. And the last altercation I had with the vehicle, I was exiting a Blockbuster Video with a video in my hand. And this bitch, I was in the parking lot. This bitch just kind of turns the corner, and I'm walking, mind you. I'm not in a car. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this car coming at me, and Lord have mercy. I kind of jumped. I rolled off her hood as she hit me, and the movie just kind of went flying in the air. After I landed on the ground, I got up and I checked to make sure, all my parts were still intact and nothing had broken, nothing had cracked. I didn't pee or poop or, lost something crucial. And she never got out of her car. She just kind of looked at me and she's like, oh, I didn't see you. I'm like, clearly. And I was about to give her the business, but she had it must have been 2 or 3 year old in the car, and the kid was freaking out. So I'm like, okay, I'm all right. And I just kind of walked away and it wasn't until I got in the car and into my car and I sat and I turned on the ignition and I started trembling, and because it just totally occurred to me that, oh shit, I just totally got hit by a car, and I flew over the hood and whatever. So yeah, that's my vehicular story time Wednesday thing for this week.